What if one day you opened your phone and saw a headline that felt unreal? V officially leaves BTS. No countdown, no preparation, just that sentence, spreading across social media, hitting fans like a shockwave. For a moment, everything stops. Then the questions start flooding in. What happens to BTS? What happens to the members? And quietly, in spaces where Jikook fans talk honestly, another thought appears. What does this mean for Jimin and Jungkook? At first, it sounds too extreme to even imagine. BTS has always been 7. That number feels permanent. V is not just a member, he's a symbol, a voice, a presence that shaped the group's image worldwide. But fans have lived long enough in K-pop to know that impossible scenarios are discussed every day. And sometimes those discussions reveal feelings people have been holding back for years. For Jikook fans in the US, this topic isn't really about V leaving BTS. It's about what happens when tension disappears. It's about imagining a space where Jimin and Jungkook no longer have to navigate complicated dynamics, fan wars, and constant interpretations of their closeness. It's about freedom. Jimin and Jungkook have always shared something that feels different. From their early trainee days to global stages, their connection has grown in a way that feels emotional, natural, and deeply familiar. Fans have watched them support each other through injuries, pressure, self-doubt, and success. Their bond doesn't look forced. It looks lived in, like something built quietly over time. But alongside that bond, there has always been noise. Comparisons, shipping battles, arguments about intentions and feelings, and much of that noise circles back to one thing: the presence of V in the dynamic. Not because V is bad, but because his relationship with both Jimin and Jungkook has always been complicated in the eyes of fans. When V is around, the atmosphere shifts. Some fans feel it immediately. The interactions change, the energy feels less relaxed. Jimin seems more cautious. Jungkook seems more reserved. Moments that once felt warm suddenly feel controlled. Whether this is real or just perception, it's a perception shared by many, and perception shapes how fans experience content. Now, imagine that pressure disappearing overnight. Imagine a BTS where Jimin no longer feels caught between loyalty, misunderstanding, and fan expectations. Imagine Jungkook no longer being pulled into endless narratives about choosing sides or proving feelings. Without V, the emotional structure of the group would change. And for Jikook fans, that change looks like relief. One of the biggest impacts would be the end of the so-called triangle. For years, fans have been pushed into opposing corners: Jikook versus Taekook. Every look analyzed, every smile questioned, every moment turned into evidence for one side or the other. It's exhausting. If V were no longer in BTS, that triangle would collapse instantly. No more guessing, no more comparison, no more fighting over Jungkook's attention. In that silence, Jimin and Jungkook might finally be able to exist as they are, two people who clearly care about each other without having to censor themselves, without pulling away, without worrying about how fans will twist every interaction into controversy. Jimin, in particular, is someone fans worry about. He's emotional, sensitive, and deeply affected by his surroundings. Over the years, there have been moments where he looks uncomfortable, hurt, or withdrawn. Fans debate the reasons endlessly, but many agree on one thing: Jimin absorbs tension more than anyone else. In a group dynamic filled with unspoken pressure, he feels it first. Without V, that pressure could ease. Jimin might no longer feel the need to step back or make himself smaller. He could express affection without fear of backlash. He could laugh freely with Jungkook without fans accusing him of crossing invisible lines. For Jikook fans, that image alone feels like healing. Jungkook's side of the story matters too. He has always been emotionally complex, open but guarded, affectionate but careful. With Jimin, Jungkook often looks grounded, calm, safe. Many fans notice that his most genuine smiles appear when he's alone with Jimin, away from the chaos of group expectations. Removing one major emotional variable could give Jungkook clarity he's never been allowed to have publicly. This isn't about erasing V from their history. Jungkook would still care, memories wouldn't disappear, but emotional focus would shift. And sometimes, growth only happens when distractions fade. There's also the professional side to consider. Jimin and Jungkook work exceptionally well together. Their voices blend smoothly, their dance chemistry is sharp and emotional, their stage presence as a pair feels intense but balanced. Without V, it's easy to imagine the company leaning more into Jimin and Jungkook as a core unit, not as a ship, but as a powerful duo that already has global support. Fans in the US tend to respond strongly to authenticity. They value emotional honesty over perfect images. Jikook represents that honesty for many people. Their interactions don't feel scripted. They feel human. And in a space without constant interruption, that authenticity could finally shine without being questioned. Another change would be the fandom itself. Shipping wars have damaged the BTS community for years. Hate comments, targeted harassment, endless arguments. It drains everyone. If V left BTS, a huge source of that conflict would disappear. Jikook fans could finally enjoy content without preparing for attacks. The atmosphere could become softer, less defensive, more supportive. Of course, this scenario is painful too. BTS would never be the same. There would be loss, grief, and adjustment, but fans are allowed to acknowledge that change can bring both pain and relief at the same time. For Jikook fans, the relief comes from imagining Jimin and Jungkook finally free from emotional restraint. Think about how often Jimin has been misunderstood. Think about how often Jungkook has been placed in uncomfortable narratives. Think about how many moments felt cut short or awkward for no clear reason. Now, imagine those moments continuing naturally, without interruption. This idea keeps spreading because it touches something real. It's not about celebrating someone leaving. It's about questioning whether the environment Jimin and Jungkook exist in truly allows them to be themselves. And if removing one element changes everything, that says more about the system than the individual. Fans don't talk about this because they want drama. They talk about it because they care, because they see something precious in Jimin and Jungkook and worry about how fragile it looks under constant pressure. So when people ask, what if V really leaves BTS? The question underneath is much deeper. It's asking what happens when emotional barriers fall. It's asking what Jimin and Jungkook might become if nothing stands between them anymore. And that question continues to echo, unanswered, growing louder every time fans watch them quietly choose each other again and again. At the end of the day, this entire scenario forces fans to face an uncomfortable truth. The conversation is not really about whether V would ever leave BTS. It's about how fragile the emotional space around Jimin and Jungkook feels right now. It's about how often their bond seems paused, adjusted, or softened because too many eyes are watching and too many narratives are fighting for control. For many Jikook fans, imagining a future without V and BTS is not an act of hate. It's an emotional experiment, a way to picture Jimin smiling without hesitation, a way to imagine Jungkook standing firmly beside one person without being pulled in different directions. It's about visualizing peace instead of tension, clarity instead of confusion. Whether this scenario ever happens or not, one thing is clear. Fans see something real in Jimin and Jungkook, something worth protecting, something that feels strongest when distractions fade and expectations fall away. And that belief is not going to disappear, no matter how loud the debates get.
Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Jimin and Jungkook would actually be happier if the group dynamic changed? Or do you believe everything is being misunderstood by fans? Share your thoughts in the comments, but keep it respectful. If you're a Jikook supporter, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next discussion. This conversation is far from over, and your voice is part of it.